Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and again another one where I'm playing with Dina Wakley's new latest release. This one is the circled stamp set. So I'm playing in the craft journal, and before I start I do add a thin layer of clear gesso to my page. This is just to help with the way that the paints take on the page, and the fastest way I've found to get this on is just to scrape it all over using a gift card or a scraping tool, something like that. Anyway, it seems to be the most effective way to get the clear gesso onto the page. So the brand that I use is Liquitex. It is quite a grainy clear gesso, but I do find that it is really good at if you put it over the top of acrylic paint, you can then go back in with coloured pencils and use them on top of it. Whereas if you don't have anything over the top of the acrylic paint, it can just be quite slippy and difficult to, you can't get any bite with the pencils. So just a little aside there. So I'm adding my coloured rainbow paints to the top of my glass mat, and then I'm just going to sweep these across the middle of my page like that. And then I do go in afterwards and just smooth out some places where there's some little blobs of paint. But you can see I've got some paint left over. So rather than waste it, I'm just grabbing some tags from a box that's on the side in my very small art room and just pulling those colours onto those tags just to use up the paint that's left. So these will then just get popped in a box and I will use them another time. So this is a stencil called Tiny Favourites, I think. And I'm just using some white paint through this one in the middle, and I'm doing it vertically down the page, and you'll notice again just in threes. This is just to kind of break up that colour a little bit. Didn't really have a plan for this at all, except that I knew I wanted to use the rainbow colours and they were going to go across the middle of the page, but I didn't really know anything else that I was going to do. So this stencil is called Marks, and I'm just using a bit of blackberry mixed with the white that was left on my desk just to add a little bit of more pattern onto my page. Then I decided that I wanted some collage paper on there too. Kind of wished that I'd started off with some little bits of collage paper, but it doesn't matter, does it really? Like, you know, one of the fantastic things about mixed media art is that there aren't any rules, and there aren't many things that you can't fix if it goes not quite how you want it to. I'm not convinced I've said that in a very good way, but I kind of know what I mean. So say you do something and you think, oh, I didn't wish that hadn't happened. There is often something you can do to fix it and make it so you are happy with it. So then what I've done with these circled stamps is using some archival ink, I've stamped them onto acetate. I did need to leave them to dry for quite a long time, but amazingly they stamp so well, and it's so effective actually. I love the way that they look. The way they catch the light a little bit, it just gives an extra dimension to the page, and how clear the images are on the acetate as well. So I've stapled those in using the Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher. I'm just using a bit of black paint now just to add some splatters onto my page too. And then I felt that the page wasn't quite balanced, so I'm just grabbing one of the other circles and I'm going to cut it in half and put a half on one side over there and then the other piece down here, and you can see already that feels a little bit more balanced now. So sometimes you just get a feeling for when a page isn't quite right, and that was it. Then I decided I was going to do some drips going down my page. I don't know, sometimes where these ideas come from, I just think, oh, I could just do some drips on there. Yeah, so watch what happens in a second when one of the drips goes underneath the acetate. It's like, yeah, that was very well done, Claire. Big brain. Look, it bleeds. But you see, this is an example of when something doesn't go to plan, it's easily fixable. So I just went back in and added that drip back in where I've just accidentally wiped it away from, and then pulled the other drip down the other way a little bit. So if you're going to do something like that, just be careful it doesn't run underneath the acetate because it will bleed. Unless, of course, that's what you want to happen. That is also okay. So this is a stamp set, and I think it's a paper craft one. I've had it for a long time. I wanted to have some words on my page, but I knew that they needed to be on white and have some white in them. And I didn't really want to write them on there myself. So I had the idea of grabbing this stamp set and stamping these onto white, a printer paper. And this is a bit of a faff, but I am going to cut each of these letters out by hand. And I was quite pleased with how it looked when it was finished. I think the contrast of the little flashes of white around the letters worked really well to help those letters stand out, especially since I added those very strange black drips going down my page, which now I kind of think, why on earth did I do that? But when it all comes together, it looks okay. So here I am just faffing about with my very tiny scissors and cutting these letters out. And you can see what I mean about the little contrast with the bits of white there. It works quite well. So the reason I've put these words on here is there's one of the faces and it's got the words really on there. And I just thought, that's great. Let's have a quote that works with the words that are on that stamp. You really can. Sometimes we all need to hear this, don't we? That we really can. We can do it. The things that we sometimes tell ourselves we can't. So that's where the words came from for this page. So you'll notice when I come to stick these in that I am using a fine tip applicator. Sorry, couldn't think what it was called then. I was thinking, I hope these words come to my mind quickly. If I talk slowly, maybe they will pop into my head, and they did. This has got some clear glue in it, and I use tweezers as well, just so it means you don't have to handle the letters and risk getting mucky fingerprints all over them. This is a really great way to get sort of fiddly bits of paper stuck onto your page really easily. I can recommend this. I mean, it would also work with PVA glue in it as well. The brand that I'm using is Collage. It's Collall. It's really good. It's just a clear all-purpose glue, and it's a very good sticky glue too. So there we go. That's the word stuck on there, and that's this page using these new stamps from Dina Wakley. They're lots and lots of fun. So many possibilities. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create another rainbow page using these stamps. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.